how to make lemon drizzle cake. And this request came from one of you guys. Yes, by one of your comments, I decided, yeah, I think we'll make a lemon drizzle loaf cake. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the alert button. That way then, you know that if ever I do a new recipe, you get notified first. You can also go to cookingwithemily.co.uk with other recipes and advice just for you. So here we go. Let's go make the most super delicious lemon drizzle cake. Now the first thing you're going to need to do is to line a loaf tin. Now this is a 2-pound loaf tin I'm using today. Usually I have these very handy liners and they line out the loaf tin. This is for a 1-pound loaf tin and I'm afraid I've run out of the 2-pound ones. I will put a link in the bio as to where you can obtain them from, and I should be buying some today as well, just like you possibly, because they do make life a heck of a lot easier. The next thing is, I'll just move that out of the way for a moment and move the old bowl into shot. The next thing you're going to have to do is just to cream the butter and the sugar. Now, usually on a warm summer's day or on a spring day, you will get away with even not having to possibly cream this down at all. But today is freezing. It is so cold out there. And even with the oven on, so yes, I've got the oven on ready at 160, which may be quite unusual considering that most cakes are 180, but this just takes a little longer to cook. So we've got the butter in there and we're going to add caster sugar. And as I say, usually in the summer you'd be able to beat this up with a wooden spoon without any need. But today I'm going to have to bring out the dualit here. It's quite a handy little gadget actually, and what we're going to do is just cream this together until it's gone really nice and soft. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the zest of a lemon. Now this little gadget is fabulous because you literally zest the fruit and then it collects it in the back here. Again, I will put a link in the bio as to where you can get one of these from, but they are fabulous because they just take the right amount of zest off the lemons and any other fruit. I know at Christmas time I tend to use it a lot when I'm making my Christmas cakes because you use a lot of oranges and lemons, you know, and in the Christmas puddings and that as well. This really is an amazing little gadget. It's one of my most, prized possessions. I think you'll ask any cook and there'll be certain things that they use that they can say, oh, I wouldn't want to be without it. So we've just taken, as you can see, a lot of the zest off the lemon there. Keep hold of the lemon. We're going to need that again in a few minutes. But then if you just look, I can slide this out. I'm trying to do this without getting in the way of the camera. And then in it goes. And it's perfectly zested. Fabulous little gadget that is. Then you just want to mix that again. So part way through creaming, I want to add something, and it is lemon curd. This is one of the tips that I like to give and to make the most beautiful zesty lemon drizzle cake. Now this is my own lemon curd mixture. I make lemon curd quite a lot because I make a lot of lemon cakes. So if you want my recipe, please do head to my website and you'll find it in the other section where I've got a fabulous recipe for lemon curd, but I am hoping to do a video for it next time I make a batch. So we're just going to mix that in there. So the next phase is simply to add the eggs and the flour. Now again, don't worry about all these ingredients because they are listed below, which is hopefully helpful to you. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of egg, and then we're going to add a little bit of the flour, and then just combine it. And so I'm going to just alternate doing that until the whole of the mixture is used up. So that's all nicely combined. The one thing that I do is I just go round the edge with one of these spatulas because they're good. And I just want to make sure that I've got everything from off the side and there's no pockets of flour or lemon or anything else. That's what's really good about making this sort of in the spring, summer when the temperatures are warmer, and then you don't have to use the mixer. You can just use a wooden spoon. But as I say, it is a little bit cooler, so I'm afraid the butter needs that little bit of extra help. So now all I'm going to do is just pop this into the loaf tin. And hopefully you can see that without my arm being in the way. So I move that to one side, and you just want to sort of coax it a little bit and just level it out. Although when it gets in the oven, it does a pretty good job itself. But if you can just level it out and help it along a bit, it does help. And obviously then you can scrape off any of the mixture from the spatula as well, so that you're not losing any of that beautiful sponge you've just made. You then want to put it in the oven. As I said, it's 160 because we need to keep this lower and slower. It will take a while to cook through. So it will take anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes to cook. But how do you test to see if it's cooked all the way through? Well, you can get something called a cake prod, which I have, and you literally just place it into the centre of the cake at a couple of the points, you lift it up, and if there's any like cake mixture residue left on the metal bit, then you know it still has to cook a little bit more. The next dilemma comes for some people making cakes, where they find that the actual cake top is cooking too much, yet it's still not cooking underneath. One of the tips I can give you is to put a little bit more of the baking parchment over the top and then some loose tin foil. That way the cake will still cook on the inside but won't go overly brown on the top. Well, that's the cake out of the oven, and this is my legendary cake tester, which is probably about maybe 20 odd years old. But as you can see, it's all cooked through, it's boiling hot still, and that's exactly as we want it because we've got a next stage. Now, you remember the lemon from earlier? I've just squeezed that. Now, the recipe does say half a lemon, but I really love mine zesty. So if you want to, you could use the whole lemon, but it all depends on how much of a zest that you love. I've then got 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. You know, the sugar like you use for making tea and coffee. Because we want it to sort of still stay sort of crystallized, but actually not totally dissolve. So that's there ready. And then with the cake still really hot, just out of the oven, I just want you to prod it all the way through. And this is my trusty barbecue skewer. Of all the things that you have in your kitchen cupboards, as I say, there's just some things that have absolute use all the time, all the way throughout the year. And this is again another great way of using a barbecue skewer. You could use a cocktail stick, but the only problem with that is it doesn't really tend to go right to the bottom. If you can hear there, I'm going to the bottom, and it makes a slightly bigger opening in the top of the cake. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to pour this lemon sugar all over the top. And you'll see the bits of the sugar here. What you want to do is just get them and just put it over the top like that. And let that set. That's got to now harden and go cool. Don't even try taking it out of the tin. Leave it as it is until it's properly cooled down, until that lemon is totally soaked through, and then you can lift it off, put it on a wire rack, and then you can go to the next stage or just eat it as it is. This lemon drizzle cake is just perfect on its own as it is, but there are a couple of tricks that you could do. You could, in fact, slice it through the middle and put another delicious layer of lemon curd, or you could make some lovely lemon buttercream icing once the cake has cooled, mind you, and you could layer it on the top. Or even better still, slice it through the middle, place a little more lemon curd and lemon buttercream as well. Oh, but I think you're going to have real fun with this recipe. So get in them kitchens and get making this delicious lemon drizzle cake.